Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a complete 15-win breakdown for this weekend's championship challenge. Make sure to watch to the end so you get all the best tips. I'm going to be giving you free-to-play brawlers as well as just the normal best comps for every single map. Definitely make sure to watch to the end. Definitely leave a like if you want to see more videos like these. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're using code TOM in the shop if you want to support me. Would very much appreciate that, and let's jump into it. Okay, so the first map is going to be Siege on Factory Russia. If you don't know, there's no boats in the middle. It either goes, depending on what side you're on, there's one right, then one left, then one right, then one left. So in this example, it's the first one spawns right, but if you're on the other side, it will be the other way around, of course. So you really want to try and get first here. So the comp is going to be Barley, Belle, and we're going to be using Stu as well. So if you don't have Belle, then honestly I'd go like a Piper. If you don't have Piper, you can go Jessie or something, but Belle is just so good right now, so I would really recommend going with that. Then if you go Barley, you can have a great offense. You have to do a ton of damage. I will put all the best star powers and gadgets down below, by the way, as well. So yeah, Belle is just so good right now. You really want to try and get that first bot. You can do that by stalling the boats. If you don't have one side, you just don't pick up on your side, essentially, and that way it's actually going to mean that you can basically, the boat is not going to spawn the other side, so they won't be able to get it. So either you're going to tie it, or you'll be able to get that first bot, which is really important. I would say you're going to be able to pretty much two push. So if you have like two bots with Barley, you should be able to like end it all the time, because Barley just does so much damage. Anyway, that's going to be it for this comp. Let's get into the next one. Okay, so the next comp here is going to be the Dynamike Barley one. So you can see the first boat spawns on the left here. We all go to the left, which isn't necessarily a bad strategy. It's actually a pretty good strategy. It means you can get our first one, but if the enemy team's smart, they're going to be able to kind of hold that right one up. In this case, though, did manage to get some kills here. The only problem is I wouldn't leave Barley on his own. So if you're going Barley lane, then either put the Max or the Gene. Probably the Gene is better, and leave the Max on their own lane. So two one side and then one the other. But yeah, this is going to be the comp that I do recommend using if you don't have Belle, probably. So this one's probably better, as usual. I'm actually starting to use that Gene Gadget after I said it was trash. I just said, you know, I don't see people use it, but now I can see some use for it. So I've started using it a little bit more and testing it out to see how good it really is. Anyway, this is going to be the comp here. Honestly, not too much to explain. It's first map. If you don't win this, I probably can't help you out. So yeah, let's get into the next map. Next map is going to be Ring of Fire then, which is a new map coming to competitive, or coming back to competitive. Anyway, this one, Belle, 8-bit, and then Byron. So this one, you know, you have to be really careful. I'd honestly probably play 8-bit in the mid, 8-bit Byron, and then you want to kind of play Belle on the side, just because if you're up against a Belle, you don't want to be standing in mid. You're going to be giving that bounce shot so much value. So you want to have the Belle on the side, probably Byron and 8-bit in the mid. And once you get an 8-bit super, you want to put it either behind the barrels on the left, or behind that kind of L-shaped wall on the right-hand side in the grass. Just whichever side you have more pressure on, so it doesn't get taken out. And then as soon as you get that 8-bit super, you basically want your Byron to be standing in the damage area and healing your 8-bit, because you're gonna be able to heal a lot more that way. And you can essentially just keep your 8-bit alive. Speedy 8-bit with a ton of heals is always gonna be able to stay alive. So Byron should be standing in there healing 8-bit, and 8-bit should just basically be doing most of the work, and Belle can kind of just separate and play it a little bit differently. And again, just don't group up too much if they have a Belle, and just be careful not to kind of get team wiped. Anyway, let's get into the next comp. So the next comp then, I do recommend going with Stu. Stu's honestly always going to be a pretty solid pick. So Stu, Jessie, and Rico. So ideally you want Rico on this left-hand side, and then Stu on the right-hand side. That's a perfect placement for that Stu Gadget. Can give you a lot of speed. And yeah, just want Jessie to go in mid. Honestly, this comp's going to be pretty good against tanks, and should honestly work pretty well. This is kind of meant to be the free-to-play comp here. But make sure you're trying to keep that Stu Gadget alive, because if you have that speed, honestly, you can dodge so many shots. Have the Jessie in the mid, probably Stu on the right, Rico on the left, as I already said. But yeah, this should be pretty good here. If you get your Jessie supers, make sure you're putting them behind this mid kind of wall up here, where the like in mid, essentially, there's a tiny 3 little like vases or something. You want to put it behind there, and just make sure that, to try and just keep it alive and shoot people, or just shoot it to keep it alive. Use that energized star power and keep healing it up so it doesn't go down. Anyway, that's going to be it for this map. Okay, so starting off with the free-to-play comp. So this one, both these comps going to have Colt in, just because Colt is very easy to unlock and very strong on the right-hand side. Want to go there, break the wall, Notice how I break this. You don't want to break all of it. You just want to break a little bit of it so you can still hide behind it if you need. Then you have Brock on the left, Jessie in the mid here. And Jessie essentially just going to be able to try and hopefully get a lot of damage. But mainly, you know, Brock and Colt are going to be the ones getting the damage. With Colt, you should really just be pushing up this right-hand side, as I'm doing here. And you want to get behind that top right corner, where essentially they're going to have to pinch you out. So basically, if there's only one person there, they will not be able to kill you. You can keep walking around the thing. So they're eventually going to have to either leave you and let you do a ton of damage, or you're just going to be able to, or they're going to have to like pinch you out with 2 people, so kind of using more people than they should have, and it's basically just going to be really good for you. Anyway, let's get into the next comp. And the next comp I recommend for this, again going with the Colt. Belle, honestly, just like a better version of Jessie in mid, more range, and also the bounce effects slightly better. Colette, going on the left-hand side. I feel like Colette's definitely much more kind of well-rounded than Brock. It's going to be better against those tanks, and honestly, using that shield star power, you can get some crazy good plays. You deal so much damage when you're using that super on the safe. Again, just you have such high damage with this comp. Just make sure you're being aggressive. Make sure you're getting a lot of damage. As I said, Colt going up on that right-hand side, trying to get as much pressure as possible. That's going to be it for this. Let's get into the final 2 maps. Okay, the next map then, going to be getting a little bit tougher here as we get into the final 2 maps. But yeah, this one, definitely going to be a very thrower-based map here. So, you know, we might see some... The thing is, we might see a lot of aggressive comps because a lot of people might be using throwers. I don't know how it's going to kind of pan out yet. So if there's a lot of aggressive comps and you can't win, then maybe drop either one or both your throwers. So in this comp, we have Sprout, Belle, and Tick. Sprout is a lot more vulnerable to those aggressive brawlers. So if you're facing a lot of them, like Mortises, Bibis, then get rid of that Sprout or something that can deal with aggression a little bit better. Maybe like a Max and a Jean. Instead of the Belle, you might as well pair Max and Jean together, so they're really good. Or just get rid of both the throwers together and just go like Belle, Max, Jean. That's going to be able to deal with those aggressive comps a lot better. But for now, anyway, just basically have your Sprout and Tick right on the side behind those walls and then pushing up, and your Belle in the mid, and you should be just fine. Okay, so the next comp here, obviously Sprout is a mythic, so this one going with Barley instead of Sprout, also Nani instead of Belle in case you do not have Belle. But to be honest, you could also go Poco to a tank. The tanks I would go would be Poco, Mortis, and Bibi. That'd work really well because I know a lot of people will probably be using throwers here, so you know, Poco to a tank could work really, really well. That's why I'm not sure about using Nani, because Nani's not the best against Poco to a tank, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people would just use aggro because there'll be so many people using throwers. So if you want to kind of out-comp people, Poco to a tank is probably a great way to go. Again, just use those throwers on the lanes, and honestly try and get that mid star because this is a very defensive map, so once you get control, it's very hard to lose. So yeah, definitely make sure you're being aggressive for that first star. Try and get that blue star, and you should be in a really good position to pick up the dub. Okay, so the next map then is going to be Triple Dribble, the last map. So on this one, I really recommend going with the Sandy Max Jean. This is such a strong comp. I would go probably Sandy on the left or in the mid, then Jean on the open lane, and then honestly Max can just go wherever. Make sure you're using those speeds together. Max should be the one scoring goals and making plays. Get those Sandy supers right in the middle. Combine that Jean and Max supers, because you know, if you speed a Jean with pull, that's an easy auto-aim pull every single time. So definitely make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're working together, getting value out of those magic puff heals. And that's going to be it for this. Let's get into the next comp. Okay, so the last comp I'm going to suggest here is, of course, a free-to-play comp. Going with Frank, Bibi, and, of course, a Poco. So the lovely Poco of a tank comp. This one is probably definitely very good against Jean Max Sandy. So this is definitely a comp that I recommend. Of course, make sure that you're just getting as much value out of those Poco heals. You obviously get 2 with Poco and 4 shots now, so yeah, Poco is very OP right now. Anyway, just make sure you're kind of holding onto the ball, because even if you're getting destroyed in this matchup, as long as you have the ball, you can definitely make a lot of plays. Make sure either Frank or Bibi, probably Frank, definitely actually Frank is probably the one that you want to have the ball, because if it's Bibi, you'll be wasting knockback and stuff like that. Frank can make a ton of plays, such as the one right here. Just look, take a look at this. Take a look at this. Okay, well, that's a very nice trick shot there. But yeah, Frank is going to be the one scoring goals. Honestly, this comp's pretty all-time, so I don't really need to explain much, but that's going to wrap it up. Okay, guys, that's going to wrap it up the video. Thanks for the suggestion. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and also subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time.